Nicole.
By the way, I love this whole background. You got all of the things. Is that Malcolm X and Sanaa on the side? And
Yes, it is. Malcolm X and Sinai. It truly is. I'm loving this hair color on you too, sis. That's beautiful.
oh, thank you.
Girl, you know I'm ride or die for some Nicole Beharie. So
Oh, well, thank you.
yes, absolutely. I think the last time I talked to you was for Miss Juneteenth. It's been a minute.
Yeah, yeah, but oh, it's been a long minute. What a few years we've had. We've had an interesting last few years. But I'm really excited to talk to you about this.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about Honk for Jesus first. Um, in your opinion, do you think mega churches have kind of shifted since shooting this film? Because they've always had shenanigans.
Interesting. Have they shifted since? No, I feel like I feel like we're in a time where there are more checks and balances everywhere because people have phones and people can report things and photograph.
Mhm.
So more so than maybe the 80s and the 90s, but I think we're sort of entering an age of like a new megachurch, you know? And I think that that's actually, it's a perfect question because that's actually what I represent in the film, I think, where you see the male and the female co-pastors and younger leadership and like rock star kind of concerts. And it's just really different. It's really different than what I remember as church growing up.
Yeah, I asked that because, I think it was either last week or week before last. Unfortunately, from my home state, there was a pastor that went viral. There was a video of him that went viral.
Yeah.
He was calling people out for not buying him a church. He called them broke, busted, and disgusted. I said, you know what? You know what, sir? That is not okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that like. What does that do to your community? What's the point? I don't understand it. And then how do you continue to follow that person is really interesting. But if that is not Lee Curtis Childs, like if that is not right out of the pages of this,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It totally is. And down south, especially in the Southern church community, they have those sayings that they will drip as sweet as honey or sound as sour as vinegar. What is your favorite church saying that sounds oh so sweet, but it is just dripping with some vinegar?
my favorite church thing, I don't know if I have
Not
one.
favorite church saying, favorite Southern saying. I'm sorry.
My favorite
Like when they say bless your heart, and they're not really trying to
that's
bless your heart.
the one. It just means actually.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it means.
So we have a fair share of that in the movie. There's a lot of that, that kind of nasty, nice thing happening.
Nice, nasty thing, yeah. And what about the Black church culture do you like? And what about it are you not so keen on?
I'll start with what I'm not so keen on. I'm not so keen on lack of transparency sometime. And, it feels like, but that's with any kind of leadership, you know? Um, I'm just like I'm just kind of big on like, what are people doing in their communities, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Some churches really show that and they're really community organizing and all that kind of stuff and benefiting the people that they serve, but not always, or maybe they also are private about it, who knows. But my favorite part is the music. And sometimes a pastor will give a word that will really make it so that you can, it's a big part of the community because of what we've gone through as a people. And it helps you make it through each week. It helps you, it gives people that soul food to keep going, and I can identify with that. And I can identify with the feeling of being in a big church and the music is going and you just feel like everything's okay, or I'm going to do better this week than I did last.
Right, right.
I love that. I got my Fred Hammond and Donnie McClurkin and Kirk Franklin and all that. Like, I understand that. But we're kind of leaning into just a little bit of interrogation in this one, but with some fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because I know when I was growing up, I grew up Kojic. So, and I practice Buddhism now. So when I was growing up, the things that I loved about the church was the music. My aunt was on the organ. She was hopping up and down on the piano bench, playing the organ and the piano. And I loved the music. And I sang in the children's choir, which was called the Sunshine Band.
Aw. What
you
would you,
know?
can I ask you a question? Do you
Yeah, of course. What were you gonna ask me?
remember any of the songs? What was your favorite song?
Yes, Jesus loves me. Going up yonder. Um,
The first song I ever sang in choir was Going Up Yonder.
really, and he's is it he's here? I think it's he's here. He's something. It was a Cleophas Robinson song. Because Cleophas Robinson was he was like what Fred Hammond is now.
I
But
got
but he lived in St. Louis, and he was a really big deal at the time while he was here on this earth. He's since gone on, but yeah, going up yonder, honey. That was the tune. So I want to know how you draft a character from a 911 call and a photo when you drafted the character, when you drafted your portrayal, rather, of playing Estelle Valerie.
that.
Huh?
You know that.
Girl, that's my job to research.
Wow, that's deep. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Because not everybody knows that. Yeah. I had the statements. I had the photo of her against the wall that they, used verbatim almost in the movie. Um, and then I had the phone call, like hearing her voice.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you kind of step into the circumstances and just imagine the rest of it. And the script was so solid as well. I got to kind of move within that. But a lot of research about protocol for bank employees, bank managers, and also I drove. I was in Atlanta at the time. I drove to the area and kind of like scouted out the real bank, which is now closed.
Mm.
The one that was actually robbed. Because I wanted to get a feel for the environment,
Right, exactly.
how it would have felt. The doors are in interesting places, and also the kind of person, the kind of person who is a manager at this particular bank in this neighborhood and what that means. And also that helped with the context of the way that authorities were reacting in a way, So I knew she was tougher than on the page. I was like, oh, she's really tough. But when I went to go check everything out, I was like, oh, yeah, she doesn't play, you know?
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Did you have an opportunity to speak with her at all?
I did not.
No.
I think, with the outcome of the story, I think it was very close to her, but we got her blessing,
Oh,
but
that's good.
yeah, but
That's
I,
good.
I
Yeah, I would imagine as an actor, it would be difficult to reach out to the real person for something of this nature because it's something that haunts you on a daily basis. Is the impact of it and the
yeah,
image of it never really goes away.
yeah,
So yeah,
I,
but I thought it. I just had to ask because I wasn't quite sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I know you had very little prep time for it, but how did you prep to play her other than walking around for the environment? Because a lot of her turmoil in this film was unspoken.
I don't know. I think that's the thing that you do. You do the research, you build the character's biography, and then show up. Like you said, a lot of it is nonverbal. A lot of it is actually between Salinas and I. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like let's get out, let's. And I think that that's what you would do in those circumstances. It was a huge gift actually to be able to be in a space with the three of with the two of them, but the three of us. And John, come on, I mean, he showed up with a full heart, mind, body, spirit, like all of the things, and made it so that like we all had to deliver because we're basically reacting to him. You know what I mean? Like we are working off of what he brought in, and what he brought in was 100%. So that's really it. The yeah, you just react to the brilliance that's happening before you.
Cool. Well, Nicole, in wrapping up, I just want to say thank you so much for your time today and for speaking to me about your brilliant performances in both these films. You always, always, always bring it 1,000 bazillion percent. And it is always my pleasure to watch you do your thing. And I'm looking forward to seeing you do even more in the future.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Bye.